Good evening, everyone, and welcome to what is Midwest F1 Homecoming Week as Division 2 heads to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal for Round 3 of Season 7. 14 corners make up this technical 4.3-kilometer circuit, 8 of the corners to the right and then 6 to the left. The track's 2 DRS zones, 3 actually, should create some overtaking opportunities, but drivers will have to drive extra carefully in order to not pick up any penalties. This is a very... I tell you what, from the driver's perspective, this track, to me, has changed so much coming into this game. A lot of these flat corners now are so much more prone to slipping. I find this so much more of a difficult track to drive. And not only that, but going into the race, Codemasters, for some reason, has decided to set the baseline tire temperature on the grid without having formation lap on to 70 degrees. So the tires are going to be ice cold on the starts. It's almost like they want to see the world burn. Well, actually freeze, because the tires are cold, aren't they? But still, I mean, we cannot have... Listen, the formation lap was the best... It was the best feature coming into this new game, without a doubt, and it doesn't even work. And then they've made it impossible to not use it. Well, it's raining, it's pouring. Here in Montreal, it's coming down in droves. It's raining cats and dogs. Insert metaphor here. It's full wets in Montreal. 10 seconds to go before the lights turn on, and I am expecting one hell of a race. And when I say hell of a race, I mean it's going to be very, very interesting, and also equally parts exciting. Now, the timer has ran out. The lights should, and I emphasize should, be turning on any second now, and here they go. 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and pause! And they're off, and it looks like who gets the best start off the line? It's so hard to tell in the wet, and it looks like the Aston Martin. Look at the AlphaTauri of Race Day up the inside, making it 3 wide. It does both of them into the first corner. That was such a great maneuver there, and Race Day has the lead of the Grand Prix in dramatic fashion. Unbelievable start then from the AlphaTauri, and it looks like towards the back, his teammate has also gotten a good start. Dusty Lusky and Lightwork battling it out now. Unbelievable start to this Grand Prix. It looks like off towards the back. It looks like perhaps a Mercedes has gone off then. It's Adaltonian. Not what he needed. Off again is Hightower, giving it a good spin, getting it back to life then. And it looks like the McLaren Dusty Lusky had a bit of a moment then, but he's gotten it back into shape. Can Lightwork get back here on race day? Can he find that left side of the circuit? I don't believe he's going to find an overtake here into turns 8 and 9. That would be quite risky. Locks up the brakes going in and somehow keeps it clean. Towards the back now. It looks like this is a neat little 3-car battle here. And Mopao Cowboy's gone off. He smacked the wall at some point then. And down into the turn 10 hairpin now. It looks as if everything stays calm. The 2 AlphaTauri drivers have made their way to first and fourth now. They had to be gutsy on the first lap. They knew that that was their best moment then. And then here goes Scott Palmer up to third. The AlphaTauri team putting on a clinic at the moment. An unbelievable start then from Race Day, and an even better one then from Scott Palmer. As they make their way through turns 13 and 14, the Wall of Champions chicane, who survives, and it looks like Dirty Boy Jackson's gotten around the Mercedes of KB07 then. And look at this, Race Day already has a second and a half on Lightwork behind. It looks like Mopao Cowboy and Helgeland both coming into the pits. Definitely not, not planned stops, I'm assuming for wing changes then. EDA Murfancelli, he's got only a few tenths back to the Mercedes of KB. Does he hold the car through the corner? He does, but only just. KB ahead of him, he's looking to get around Dirty Boy Jackson. These two have been battling it out so far. And it looks as if, look at this Race Day, simply starting to walk away with this one. 2.5 seconds, less than 2 laps into the Grand Prix. Looks like the Aston Martin of Nicky64 has had a bit of a moment just then. Note the Mercedes of Adaltonian, I believe, has had another moment himself as he spins it round. He's got the Alpine of Cowboy coming through. And it looks like KD has gotten around Super then. Either that or Super's made somewhat of an error as suddenly he's fallen back then to the Red Bull. And now the Red Bull looking to the outside, breaks really deep. A little bit forward, the Haas and the Mercedes side by side. I believe Murfancelli's just taken KB down the inside. KD35 looking forward as well. Contact to the right rear tire, and KD goes around. No, he saves it. Wow, what car control then from the Red Bull driver. That was almost certainly a DNF, and he's proved me wrong. Absolutely brilliant done. And then he's going to file back in line then with the Ferrari ahead of him. Somehow, some way, we haven't had a safety car in these absolutely poor conditions. No, who's that? Someone's gone off, and it looks like Dusty has had a moment as well as Murfancelli. Dusty Lusky falling back dramatically now. What's happened with him? Has he just simply lost the car? Coming out at 14, it looks like he has, and it looks like he's missing wing as well. As you can see how tiptoeing he is going around this circuit. He's fallen back now, down to P11. Not what he needed whatsoever. Shariah Coleslaw within a few tenths on KD35 ahead of him. Still looking to make something happen. And for now, it seems slightly calm. I'd say the calm before the storm, but the storm's already here. And now this turns into a race not only of driver ability, but of driver competency, I guess. Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes is going to walk away with this win today. And it looks like so far race day is off to just that. He is that guy for now. Down into turn 10 he goes. It looks like Dusty Lusky and Ray 46 battling in there. Dusty's had to go across the sausage curbing there. As Shariah down to the inside of the Alpine. A little bit of a bump and run then from the Ferrari driver as they exit turn 10. Down there now it looks like, oh, it's still side by side between these two. Exiting turn 10, going through 11 and 12. And it looks like the Alpine's still on the outside. I hope they get this sorted by the time they get to Wall of Champions. As it looks like they have. The Alpine is going to take the spot as they head into turn 13 and 14. Ferrari, a little bit of slip then. That's Shariah Coleslaw. You can see him tentative on the throttle, but he's done it well to regain control. Murfancelli ahead of him within 4 tenths on the Mercedes of KB in front of him. As it looks like in the pits now comes Dusty Lusky. He's got that wing damage on the right-hand side of the Mercedes. Big slip then. Murfancelli's going to slide down to the inside. He's going to make that work? Is he? Such an unconventional place to make an overtake, and it's side by side here in Montreal between these two. Still side by side now, making their way to what usually is the DRS zone. Nothing, no action with that then. Super Ninas, he wants in on this battle as well. Watching the two ahead of him, it looks like Murfancelli has made his way around KB then. A brilliant maneuver, and a bit gutsy as well. To do it in that section of the track and then carry out being side by side for that amount of time. I mean, honestly, it's almost unheard of, even in the dry conditions. Deep into the corner goes the Haas of Murfancelli behind him. KB07 still in hot pursuit, and it looks as if Murfancelli might just start to drive off with this position. Meanwhile, Gott Palmer is starting to reel in light work. Closing in that gap, it was about a second not too long ago. He's now shaved about 2 tenths off of that time. He is closing in on that Aston Martin in front of him. Race day then with the fastest lap, and it looks like the rain starting to perhaps, I'd say lighten up, but that's just simply not true. Ferrari off towards the back. I'm assuming it's Hightower, and it is a safety car as Shariah Coleslaw has come to a stop. What is happening here? Well, the safety car out on track, I think. For what reasoning? I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure why the safety car has come out. Nobody's DNF'd. Nobody has crashed, it seems. Is it just a buildup of debris? I'm not quite sure, but that's a bit of an odd one, that. I doubt anyone's going to be coming into the pits. Looks like the rain, maybe I was right. Maybe the rain is starting to lighten up now, but it's still, I think, a little bit too far gone for the intermediates. And for now, I'll step aside. So just as I was wrong, it looks now race day on his way in and putting on the intermediate tires, as well as light work in behind as well. So it looks like the rain has lightened up, and now it seems EDA Murfancelli is going to inherit the lead of the race, KB in second. But crucially, race day has put on the intermediates. Is the track good enough? But Murfancelli now picking up a penalty. They're speeding under the safety car, and what's happened with race day? Is he picked up time for going into the pits? He's got a penalty, I know that, and he's got a drive-through. No, and so suddenly, And 2 drivers within the top 3 suddenly have drive-through penalties. For what reason? Speeding under the safety car, I'm assuming, but just how? Coming out of the pits, I would assume you kind of have to speed under the safety car at that point. Well, that may have firmly ended race day's shot at a win here. I know we're only 6 laps in, but that is so unbelievably detrimental. It's going to be quite a mountain to climb for him to bounce back. But the best drivers, they are able to bounce back. Look at this. What a conundrum. What's happening here? Why is suddenly it backed up behind the safety cars? It looks like, oh, have we had a lobby glitch? Those drivers are suddenly starting to leave the session. Looks like, is the safety car glitch happening? As Murfancelli's on his way in, as well as race day's chosen to actually stay out. Well, it says there's a safety car glitch. I'm not sure what's happened, but it does certainly seem to be the case. As Murfancelli on his way in fits the intermediates, KB fits the intermediates, Super also fitting the intermediate tires. So, well, hang on just a minute. Murfancelli's gone and made a stop. He'll still have to serve his drive-through, won't he? Yeah, he will. I mean, I'm sure that's not what he wanted to do. It certainly appears like this game might be broken. So the safety car on its way in this lap. We hear there's been some glitches going on with safety car EDA Murfancelli. Certainly feels that way. Race Day does have a drive-through himself. Crucially, the intermediate tires have been put on. Now, KD35 has stayed out. Has anyone else stayed out? Only a few. KD35 has stayed out, Raid 46 has stayed out, and Grim Reaper has stayed out. So, the question is the track good enough for the intermediates, or should they have waited just a little bit longer as the field now winds its way through turns 13 and 14. Remember, race day does have that drive-through penalty. Although, to be honest, his pace has been absolutely incredible. As it looks like, as Murfancelli just gotten around the Mercedes then of KB, and he has. Oh, look at this conundrum here. It looks as if the Mercedes down to the inside on his, on the Alfa Romeo. I thought it was Mercedes there for a second. KB gets around Dirty Boy Jackson just then. That's the maneuver he was waiting to make for quite some time now, actually. Those two have been battling. It looks like KD only 4/10 behind. Oh, has he slipped? Has he crashed? And he has! Now KD, who I thought was actually gaining a significant amount of time then on the wet tires, has actually gone and put it in the wall, loses the front wing. And now that opens the door for Lightwork to retake the lead of this race. It looks like Ray 46 getting passed by his teammate then, KB. Oh, he's got a puncture. KB07's got a puncture. I haven't seen that so far in this game. Right front puncture then for the Mercedes of KB07. I'm just wondering how he's actually picked that up, what he's ran over. Was it perhaps the debris that's come off the Red Bull of KD? It's certainly a possibility as he drops all the way down the field now. KD35 dropping as well. We do have yellow flags off back then. Murfancelli and Race Day still have the drive-through penalty they will need to take care of. Race Day on his way in. I would assume Murfancelli not far behind. And he is. Does he slow it down? And he does. NFS Lightwork takes the lead of the Grand Prix. As it looks like, we got a Haas. Kind of looks like he's off there back towards the inside. Couple cars pitting now. Race Day pitting, Murfancelli pitting, KD pitting. That's an interesting turn of events then. Ray 46 up to P5 now. This is, as Mopile Cowboy picks up 3 seconds for multiple warnings now. Is Ray 46 at an advantage because he's on the wet, or are the wets too far gone now? This is what I'm concerned about here, because it looks as if the intermediate's starting to take over. However, it's really teetering then. Ray 46 just looks so much more clean just then going through turn 7 than either of the drivers on the intermediates. Let's see Super here. And then Ray 46 taking that same corner, albeit it's slower, but it's much more clean. Soy Loco has Sui behind him. Can we just see the penalties? What's actually happened? So Sui's got 3 seconds, Mopawa's got 3 seconds. Race Day, thankfully for him, has only dropped down to P8. It looks like the Haas of Ray has gone way wide then, and he's side by side now with Soy Loco. Soy Loco passing the grass. He's almost there. Still side by side then with the Haas. Sui in behind. Oh, this is either going to end poorly or brilliantly, and I can't wait to find out which. Into turn 13 they go, and it looks like Soy Loco took that position. Great move then for the Alpine. Race Day in hot pursuit as well. Now, assuming it does look like towards this side of the track, this turn 1 and 2 side, it does look like the rain is clearing up. Race Day around the outside then of Sui. Does the move hold? And it doesn't, although it was a really good effort. And he's going to try it again. This time he does make it happen. Now, Race Day, I tell you what, might be one of the fastest drivers on this grid. He has the ability to catch back up. He's going to go around the Haas now, going into turn 6 and 7. He does make that happen. A little bit behind Ray and Sui, almost colliding then, but it's actually come out okay. EDA got Palmer, the second AlphaTauri, who made his way up through the field initially off the start, has set purple sector 2 and is reeling in the leader in the Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant driver of NFS Lightwork. Can he find the slipstream? Can he find position? The rain, it's still falling, but it is getting a lot lighter, as it previously has, a little bit lighter than at least it was. Through 13 and 14 now. It looks like Palmer still can't quite find the speed enough to track down Lightwork, although I will say, Scott Palmer just has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Now here comes Race Day. Can he get around Soy Loco here? He's definitely going to look for it, but I'm afraid the move just isn't quite there yet. Dirty Boy Jackson, mind you, he's also in this battle. He's a little bit further behind, although it does look like he's starting to close in. 0.5 of a second. The gap from first to second now. Battle for the lead this is, between the Aston Martin of Lightwork and the AlphaTauri of EDA got Palmer. It looks like EDA Murfancelli getting around his teammate then of Ray. Ray now under pressure from Mopile Cowboy, who's going to switch down to the inside and then take that spot. This is the second time now. Oh, and then he smacks the wall just for fun. Has he picked up any damage from that? That front wing has got to be made out of some form of steel, as he's not picked up any damage from that, what looked to be a huge smack of the wall then, coming out of turn 5. Here's Race Day. Can he find a way around Soy Loco? He certainly looks like. The Alpine ahead of him is really slowing him up here. He's going to go down to the inside. Late on the brakes goes the AlphaTauri of Race Day, and he is going to make that move happen. The Alpine, though, not giving up just yet, and now he kind of has to, as that move was made and then completed. And now, look, the rain almost looks like it's starting to stop. We could probably expect the track to start drying very shortly, as look, the rain just simply isn't falling as heavy as it was. It looks like now the Alpine and the Williams back there, Soy Loco and Sui going to be battling it out here shortly. Got Palmer starting to fall back then of Lightwork ahead of him, who Lightwork, a lap ago, was at about a 5/10 of a second gap, is now outside of 9/10. And look now, you can't even see on the screen rain falling. It might be time. You know, you can still see it coming on the camera here, but from the sky, there's no rain in sight. Can we potentially see a trip down pit lane here within, I'd say, at least the next 2 laps? It's going to take some time for the track to dry, but this is a very, very interesting Grand Prix, this. Sui looking to get around Soy Loco here. Look at now, the track starting. You can start to see the path that it creates when it starts to dry out. Well, I'd say that. It's not really true, is it? But that would happen in real life, but it's not happening now. It looks like a little bit further back, Dusty Lusky, he's getting around the left side then of Ray, so it looks like Ray, it was actually a mistake then to stay out on the wet tires. Maybe it was the good idea at first, but it has really overstayed its welcome as the Alpine goes down to the inside on the Williams, and that move looks to be made. Nicely done then from Soy Loco, but he's got Sui still in hot pursuit. Less than 2/10 still. Do we have any takers for the pits? Not yet. Everybody staying out. Lightwork setting the fastest lap, a 1:20.2. Dirty Boy Jackson then a 1:20.1. We can expect to see the speed increasing these next 3 laps before the track dries out. The rain not falling anymore. It's just simply spray coming off the cars ahead. It looks like Sweet. Can he find anything to get around Soy Loco? It's just simply not there at the moment. Dusty Lusky a little bit further back. Can he find his way around Shariah Coleslaw? Shariah's got a 5-second gap to the car ahead of him. That's Mopowa Cowboy. Albeit Mopowa has 6 seconds of penalties. Yellow flag somewhere. Who's that for? And it's the Red Bull, I believe, of PWR Grim Reefer has gone off there. He's actually still on the wets, so we can assume that he has also made that same mistake as Ray 46, and he stayed out on those wets a little too long. Sweet right up then to the gearbox of Soy Loco. Contact almost made, and it looks like the move is going to happen now. Down to the outside goes Sweet. Is he going to try it the long way around? No, he's actually going to switch back down to the inside. DRS enabled now, as the track still has that amount of water on it, and I would assume drivers into the pits now. No, they're staying out. Interesting this. This may be the chance for Race Day to make somewhat of an undercut here. Is he going to come in? No, he doesn't. So DRS enabled. However, unless that was some sort of a glitch, as Sui now picking up 3 seconds for multiple warnings, as Soy Loco on his way in. This is the crucial move here. Does it come to be putting on the medium tires? No, it's actually the hards then for Soy Loco. Oh my goodness, that car is going to be driving on ice for these next, I'd say, at least 3 laps. I've just forgot to turn on the telemetry and the lap data then, this whole Grand Prix so far. Hard tires then for Soy Loco. Look at him, he's already struggling to get the traction that he needs. But it looks like the intermediates are just simply not viable anymore. I mean, look at the track already pretty much dry now. In real life, these intermediates would still be good for quite some time, considering that they do get, as they get worn out, they turn into almost a sort of extra soft compound tire, as you see sometimes, as LFR Switchback is very not happy then with Valentine, as into the pits comes Lightwork, who really slams on the brake then, and Got Palmer follows. Dirty Boy Jackson as well, Super as well, Race Day in as well. So, double stack then for the AlphaTauris. That, if anything, is going to hurt Race Day. Let's see what tires go on. It's the mediums for Lightwork. It is the mediums for Got Palmer. It's going to be, I would assume, the mediums then for Dirty Boy Jackson. No, it's actually the hards. So Dirty Boy Jackson taking the risk then, and I believe Super is actually going to get out ahead of him here. So Super has made up a position in the pit lane. Race Day has put on the mediums himself, so he is currently P5. He's got Dirty Boy Jackson ahead of him, so I would have to assume that for now, we could potentially see that get bumped up to P4. So Mo Power Cowboy, remember he did take the undercut here. He went in, put on the mediums. He's currently P8 and he's currently P9. His teammate is P8. Yellow flag off somewhere. That's the McLaren of Dusty Lusky. Something has happened with him as he has found the grass. Coming out of turn number 2, going towards turn 3. We'll have to assume that's due to cold tires. That's definitely what I would assume. Grim Reaper actually being overtaken here by Adaltonian going into the wall of Champions chicane. That you don't see every day. Nicely done then from the Mercedes driver, who has had a relatively quiet day so far. And it looks like Lightwork now really starting to pull away from the AlphaTauri ahead of him. As the look at the AlphaTauri, got Palmer trying to work his tires, trying to work some temperature into them as he goes down the straight. He knows he needs it. Doing everything he can to somewhat get back up to pace here. Still, I believe I just saw another raindrop fall then. Got off of Got Palmer. It certainly looks like it. Well, the skies have cleared up for now, although albeit they are still quite cloudy. Super Dinas, you can see, he's still trying to slipping about through those combination of corners. Then Race Day was trying to close in on Dirty Boy Jackson then. It's not really gone to plan. Here it is now. Now within 1 second. DRS, I'm assuming, is going to be enabled. Purple Sector 1 then from Race Day. Still see some rain on the camera lens. I don't know if that's just effect or some drops happening. I'm not quite sure. DRS then enabled for the AlphaTauri, but look how much battery he's using, down to 1%, 2 and 1% now. Although he has made up a lot of time there on Dirty Boy Jackson. The moment I look away from him, he's made up about 0.5 for some reason. Down into turn 10, he's going to look to the outside. He's going to cut back down, then look towards the inside, albeit he didn't really have anything going for him then. DRS going to be enabled now, but look how much battery Dirty Boy Jackson has to use here. About 30%. This is where I believe Dirty Boy Jackson is going to ride out this charge here from the AlphaTauri of Race Day. Down into turns 13 and 14. Oh, but look at this. Race Day's gotten a much better go through the Wall of Champions then. And Dirty Boy Jackson, I think, is just going to have to back off and accept that Race Day has taken that position. I will say, though, however, the mediums, I mean, they'll last you about 20 laps, so maybe. I mean, when did they pit? Yeah, so it looks like the mediums to the end is probably possible. I think the hards are definitely going to be more comfortable at the end, but the mediums will make it at this stage. KD35 now, he's in a battle with Shirai Coleslaw. Remember, this is a battle for position despite the penalty. Both of them on 3 seconds, so this is really a battle for the spot here then. It looks like Shirai has gotten a much better go of turn 3 and 4. Through 5 now into 6 and 7. KD35, it looks like having to kind of experiment with the lines here. Perhaps he's not comfortable with the car at the moment. DRS enabled on the Red Bull. I doubt he can make something happen here. That's, honestly, I'd say the wrong place to make that move happen. Perhaps in a turn 10, battery being used now for KD. He's going to look to the inside, switch back to the right side. Beautiful move then from the Red Bull. Wheel to wheel now as they go into turn 10 in the Red Bull. I don't want to say easily, but he is really going to have this position. And he's going to have his cake and eat it too, really. Try Coleslaw, and he doesn't have DRS. KD was behind at the activation point, then makes the move, then has DRS. Nicely done then from him. Super. He's within a half a second now on the AlphaTauri of Race Day in front of him. Dusty Lusky and Adaltonian making some moves there. That's over towards the back. That's coming out of turns 8 and 9. I believe Adaltonian perhaps had a moment as he was going through 8 and 9, and then suddenly he was behind. Ooh, as Race Day just hit the wall then, it looked like he almost did. He got really close to the outside wall, and somehow he's kept the car going. I tell you what, it looks like, as I was rambling off then about Adaltonian, it looked like he did get quite wide. Almost dangerously wide then to the wall, as it looks like the field's starting to be spread out here. Towards the back, it looks like Adaltonian and Dusty Lusky in a battle here for position. Closest battle on track currently. This is for P16. Through turns 1 and 2. Eltonian within 9/10 of a second, only for now, as it looks like Dusty's gotten better exit at turn 2. And now the sun starting to shine here in Montreal. Elslin picking up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. It looks like now Eltonian has slipped outside of that 2 seconds now on Dusty, as it looks like Dusty's making a charge towards the Mercedes in front of him. Oh, it looks like Shirai and KD. Oh, KD's gone off. No, and KD35 we'll have to assume has lost it, exiting Wall of Champions, and he now is without a wing for this entire next lap. And he has already had 2 stops, one of them being, I think, for a front wing as well. So, I think things going from bad to worse then for KD35. Not what he needed whatsoever. Meanwhile, Dusty Lusky, can he find the move on the Mercedes in front of him? Only 2/10 here the gap. DRS activated. Battery being used then. Quite even Stevens on battery, really. To the outside then goes Dusty Lusky through turn 1. Wow, he's done him around the outside just then. That was a brilliant move then from the McLaren. If he's able to hold that position, it definitely looks like he's got quite a bit of pace to him now. Although, about 8.5 seconds to Nicky 64 ahead. Don't want to say it's an insurmountable mountain to climb, but really would have to hope for a safety car here to make that happen. Ray 46 trying to make his move on KD35 now. As you can see, KD earlier lost his front wing, and now I tell you what, he's got quite a bit of pace. He's actually pulling Ray 46 here without a front wing. That I didn't expect. And then, just to make matters worse, he's picked up 5 seconds for speeding into the pit lane. I'm afraid KD35, his competitive day is probably over at this point. Vopal Cowboy and Swede both battling here, both on 9 seconds of penalty. Now, it was Soy Loco and Swede battling earlier, but it seems like an Alpine has been glued to this Williams of Swede for the majority of the race. Less than a second now. Is he enough at the DRS activation point? Certainly seems like it is. Swee's gotten a little loose coming out of turn 10 through 11 now. DRS will be enabled here on the Alpine. The sun is shining at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve here in Montreal. The rain has fallen, and it looks like now the AlphaTauris within the top 3, the both of them. Race day overtook both of the front runners coming off the line in the wet, and then had a drive-through penalty for speeding into the pit lane, or speeding under a safety car, whichever one it was. Had to serve it, dropped down to 8th, is now back up to 3rd. It's been a great day for race day, but I'm afraid that all his hard work may just only result in P3. He does have his teammate in front of him, and I tell you what, Soy Loco 3 seconds for multiple warnings, then that puts him at 3 seconds of penalty. Even Stevens for tire as far as race day and light work. Now I think light work is faster in the dry. In the wet, it was by far race day, no doubt about it, but light work is pulling this AlphaTauri team. Now, can they perhaps exchange DRS a couple of times and help each other get back to that of the Aston Martin? Very much possible. You don't quite see that happen that often. It's very hard to work as a team here, obviously. 0.3 of a second. Look at how much battery race day is having to use. Look at all this traffic ahead of him. This is, I'd say, a battle for second place here. I wouldn't expect much battling to really happen. They are teammates, after all. Maximize points. They will be doing just that as well. They will be, by far, walking away with the best result of the day. A lot of traffic ahead of these two. Yellow flag. Oh, KD35's gone off. How much does that shake things up? And the safety car is on its way out. My, oh my, things have just gotten spicy here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. KD35 has DNF'd coming out of turns 8 and 9. And that's exactly what he's done. He's lost the car, and it's spun. And now, is it a battle on the softs for the last 12 laps of the race? Do they pit? Lightwork, I think it's going to be up to him. Let's see what Lightwork does. His teammate, Nicky 64, as well as one of the Mercedes in front of him. And yes, They file into the pits. Got Palmer next. Race Day next after that. Super, I would have to assume, will be next after that. This is the variable that Race Day needed to perhaps reclaim the lead at some point, although it will be a double stack then for the AlphaTauri team. This is not ideal to say the least, although it does appear that it's actually not gone all terribly to plan. Murphy has actually decided to stay out then. Bold strategy this. So Lightwork exits in second on the fresh softs. Murphy ahead of him, 8-lap-old mediums. I mean, those are absolutely nowhere near the end of their life. So maybe as perhaps Murphy done something right here, perhaps was staying out the good choice. He is on 3 seconds of penalty after all. But that has opened the door, and I mean wide open then, for Race Day to reclaim the lead of this Grand Prix. So, while the safety car does its magic, I'll step aside. So the safety car is on its way in this time. Does anybody have a move to be made around Lightwork? Oh, what's happened here? So, Murphy out to the lead. 8-lap-old medium tires, or so. It's probably more now. Yeah, 10 laps old. 10-lap-old medium tires. So, that is in turn going to be holding up Lightwork. Does Got Palmer or Race Day, or perhaps Super, have a move to get around what it will eventually be the leader of the race in Lightwork? Assuming Lightwork doesn't make some sort of unbelievable error. Now, coming through the wall of championship chicane. Oh, look at this. He's really been held up then by the Haas. And now, look at this. This is the move that perhaps needed to be made then. Got Palmer. Has he gotten away good enough to get around the Aston Martin? And he hasn't. So it looks like now all has stayed the same. But the door still could be wide open, although perhaps as Lightwork gets closer to Murphy, the door will eventually be getting closer to being shut. Murphy smacks the wall coming out of turn 4. Try a coleslaw, picking up 3 seconds for multiple warnings. Does Lightwork have enough to get around Murphy here within a timely manner? He's got the AlphaTauri behind him, 2 AlphaTauris behind him. One of them being Got Palmer has just made a mistake. Lightwork looking to the inside. Murphy blocks it off. Into turns 8 and 9 now. This is where we saw KD35 lose it, which brought out the safety car. Down towards turn 10. This is where we can assume the move will be made. Lightwork looking down the inside. Can he make it on Murphy? He's going to look for it. Really locks up the brakes then. This is the chance. This is what will win Lightwork the race. And he doesn't have it for now. Murphy strikes back, is able to keep the spot. And now Got Palmer looks to be within the slipstream of the Aston Martin. Murphy closed off the move brilliantly, and he's held on to the lead for at least another lap. Got Palmer and Race Day in hot pursuit. Both of the AlphaTauri drivers. The Haas of Murphy just hit the wall big time then. Coming out of Wall of Champions, and now it looks as if Lightwork is going to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Got Palmer's right there, but Murphy doesn't seem to be giving up, but now is in the way of Got Palmer. And now, all that's changed is Lightwork is able to get away. And now, Got Palmer. 3 seconds of time penalty, not what he needed. He's got his teammate of Race Day looking to overtake him here. I think Race Day might simply have more pace. Already a second gap nearly from Lightwork back to Murphy, and it's only growing. Oh, I say that, it's actually getting shorter at the moment. Super, can he find a way around Got Palmer, who has the 3-second time penalty ahead of him? Dirty Boy Jackson, he's looking to get around Super as well. Can Race Day find the inside of Murphy here? He's going to need to, and fast, considering that the Aston Martin ahead of him is now pulling away 1.3 seconds the gap. All this is doing is holding up Race Day here. Race Day, I think, really has to start getting better at conserving his battery. Look, he's already down to 0%. As it looks like his teammate, Got Palmer, having a look then, as they go through turns 13 and 14. Got Palmer might actually be the faster of the AlphaTauris here. Side by side between the two teammates heading towards turn 1. They're letting him race. Not exactly a strategy I would recommend. Murphy closes off the bottom line there. Yellow flag then, and it looks like Hightower has had a little bit of an off coming out of turn 14. Now, does Race Day have anything to get past Murphy? Going to be 6 laps to go this time by, right? 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. Yeah, 6 laps to go. Down to the inside goes Race Day. To the inside of the Haas, and he makes it happen. Now, 6 laps here. 6.5 laps for Race Day to claw back to get to Lightwork. But the Haas is right there. He's going to look back down towards turn 8 and 9. Thankfully, that move actually wasn't made. That would have been disastrous had he tried to make it. Got Palmer. Remember, this is a battle for position at least, along with Murfancelli. He's got Super in hot pursuit as well. And now, this is the scary thing if you're the AlphaTauri of race day. That gap to the lead only getting larger. 3.3 seconds now. Mopao Cowboy, 15 seconds of penalty. He's right in this mix as well. Oh, we got a car that's gone off. Houdini's off back there. Really falling off now. And yeah, he's done it in the grass. Coming out of turn 11 then. Soy Loco, 3-second time penalty for multiple warning. The fastest lap belonging to Lightwork, a 1:13 flat. Got Palmer. Does he hold up the Haas behind him in order to help his teammates? It doesn't look like he's going to be getting any pressure, really. Dirty Boy Jackson now. This is the closest battle for position on track this really will be for that third spot, assuming that they can keep close enough to Got Palmer. 4/10 of a second the gap now. DRS open, but really to no avail now. Super, can he find a way around Murfancelli? Another yellow flag back towards there, and that is the Haas of Ray 46. Something has happened with him. He's found the wall, but he hasn't found the DNF, thankfully. Can Super find a way around Murfancelli? It doesn't look like it's able to be made. Big oversteer then from Super down into first gear. You don't typically want to do that. As now, Dirty Boy Jackson. Can he have any sort of an advantage? And a virtual safety car. As Ray 46 is unable to get the car back going then. Virtual safety car on track. As it looks like now, Murfancelli on his way in. So, 5 laps to go. Only about 4.5 of which will be taking under racing conditions. As a lot of cars choosing to pit now, assuming to get rid of penalties. DRS re-enabled, virtual safety car over. Look how much time race day has made up. It's down to within 1.5 seconds. Dirty Boy Jackson, 3-second penalty for multiple warnings, and you'd have to assume that he's used that to get around Super. 1 second the gap between these two. It's very close now. Lightwork was caught sleeping under the virtual safety car, and Race Day's been able to take advantage. However, Race Day has 5% battery, Lightwork 84. DRS will be to the aid of the AlphaTauri. However, will it be enough to get around the Aston Martin? He'll have it coming out of turn 10 here. Simply who is going to be off to the better start? DRS, it will be enabled. 1.2 the gap. And it looks like now this is Lightwork getting off to the better start now. Out of turn 11 and 12. Battery being used. Yellow flag back there somewhere. Yeah, that's the McLaren, I believe, of Dusty. Something has happened with him. DRS once again. Yeah, Dusty is going rather slow here. It looks like Murfancelli's going to try to find it around the left side. But now, more importantly, the gap for the lead, less than 1 second, as they go now through turns 3 and 4. Lightwork, I think without DRS, was going to be off to win this race. But now, that DRS is to the aid of Race Day. It's anyone's game. Who will make the least amount of mistakes? Who will drive flawlessly to the end? Who will come out on top? Will it be the Aston Martin of Lightwork? Will it be Race Day? I tell you what, whoever it is, they're going to absolutely deserve it. The gap now shrinking. 0.7 of a second. And it's only getting smaller. Ray 46 is retired in the pits. Now, this is where Lightwork was starting to get ahead of Race Day here, coming out of turn 10, so we'll have to assume that Lightwork is gaining the time back going through Sector 3, because it certainly looks like Race Day might have a match at every part of the circuit until they get to turn 10. That is where the advantage has been going to Ray 46 has gone off on the straight. Oh, well, I thought it was in the pits. Definitely wasn't. It was on the straight. 0.6 of a second. 3 laps to go. A little bit of a slip then from Race Day. Can he find his way to the Aston Martin in front of him? He's trying as best he can, but he's using way too much battery, I'm afraid. That is going to be the difference at the end of the day. Lightwork has barely had to touch his battery. 86%. 8% then for the AlphaTauri. 0.7 the gap. DRS open. And then shut again, and it looks like, oh, has Nicky 64 gone off then? Certainly looks like he has. Well, something's happened then with him. Meanwhile, turn 10 it is. Lightwork, I'm afraid, has not gotten a good go about turn 10, although look at this, the traction is just simply better, and this is where Lightwork has that advantage. He's able to get away quicker because he does have that battery at his disposal. 2 laps to go this time by, and it looks like Race Day has got quite the task ahead of him. Only he can hope for is a penalty for the Aston Martin ahead of him, which, by the way, not all out of the question considering we are at Canada, one of the most penalty-heavy tracks, as you could guess, I'm sure. Through turns 1 and 2. Advantage for now goes to Lightwork. Race Day has not been able to make that gap go back down. It's been teetering around between 6 to 8 tenths, and now it's outside of a second. Back within a second now. Activation detection zone. DRS once again for the AlphaTauri, but this is the crucial part again. Look how much less battery he has than that of the Aston Martin ahead of him. Down this straight then. Mopao Cowboy, 3 seconds for multiple warnings, 24 seconds of penalties for the Alpine driver. NFS Lightwork really trying to tiptoe his way around the circuit now. He knows he has the advantage on battery. He knows he has the advantage on track position. Is it really? Is it really the point of just making sure you don't pick up a penalty? And now look at this again. The advantage once more. Final lap of the Grand Prix coming up now. DRS enabled, but I'm afraid that it's just not helping Race Day enough for him to be able to take the lead. Lightwork, however, you gotta hand it to him, he has survived a lot of pressure here. Yellow flag towards the back, 8 Altonians had it off. Final lap of the Grand Prix, Lightwork out to the lead. It's only 7 tenths of a second, however, anything can happen. But now look at this, it really is Lightwork who has banked this battery up throughout these last 5 laps, up to 60%, and it really is starting to slip away then from the AlphaTauri. I don't actually believe he's going to have DRS this time by out of turn 7. Will he? No, he won't. Advantage Lightwork, and by some margin as well. And I think, had Race Day conserved his battery, this would have been a lot closer. Race Day slips, into the grass he goes. He does hold on to the car nicely, mind you, but unless Lightwork makes a mistake, I think it really will be the day of the Aston Martin. Round turn 10 and turn 11 now. All Lightwork has to do is successfully manage turns 13 and 14, and he's got himself a win. Well, he didn't let the conditions get to him. He didn't let the track get to him. Round the final couple corners now, it will be NFS Lightwork taking the win here in Montreal Race Day. He did everything he could, finished a second after a brilliant start to the race, finished a second, got Palmer, I believe will be coming across the line in third. Dirty Boy Jackson will be taking fourth. Super will at least be making up, I think, 1 position here around Shariah Coleslaw. And yes, he will, up to 5th then for Super, Shariah 6th. Great day then for Shariah. Sui up 11 positions since the start. I believe he will be taking driver of the day. So after it's all said and done here in Montreal, Lightwork does take the win after starting on pole. However, it's a brilliant day for the AlphaTauri team. A double podium, Race Day in second, and Got Palmer third. Dirty Boy Jackson comes home fourth, Super Nina's fifth, Shariah in sixth, seventh KB, eighth is Sui after starting 19th, finishes eighth, 10th is Dusty Lusky, 10th is Murphy after having that glitch behind the safety car, 11th Helgeland, 12th Adeltonian, 13th Houdini, 14th Mopao Cowboy, 15th Nikki, 16th Soy Loco, 17th Hightower, 18th Grim Reaper, 19th Ray 46, and rounding out the field, P20, KD 35, both KD and Ray 46 did not finish that Grand Prix. So, if you thought that was chaotic, next week is Monaco. Oh, it's going to be a good one. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week with Monaco Under the Lights.